For your leadership. I do have a question and concerns. I have parents who have reached out. We have started the conversation. They are worried the school year is getting ready to start. Youth are nervous. Do they walk with their parents? How would this look when the first day of school happen? We have a lot of seniors who are also asking that same question when they go out on their walks and strolls. How do we make this less intimidating? I know it will be a presence, but I guess parents and school children who will be traveling to and from school, and also seniors who walk about the community, they do want to know how can we make this a more environment where it is still DC, but also is collaborated.
Can you give us some ideas about what you think would be appropriate?
Yes. So for the young school children going to school, again, everyone wants safe passage going to and from school. But I guess in front of the schools, traveling to and from on the metro, you have a lot of youth who are trying to do something good with their lives. They want to get to and from school and not feel.
I haven't heard the word black mentioned one time yet. 14 minutes in, youth, teens, no crime spike, no crime problems here. What you're watching here is a city council, a town hall of sort, with the mayor Mirabeau's in the middle with the yellow on. Bottom left is the Apia. I think she's deputy mayor for safety or something like that. She may be an African woman, if I'm not mistaken.
Feel as though if they travel in groups, because they do that for safety, will I be looked at upon as something else? Also, we have young school children. Will we have guards or officers at law enforcement with their vests right in front of the school buildings, and it become intimidating to travel to and from school? Also, we have seniors who have lived different eras, and this is kind of triggering for them. So they want to stay inside, and we know we want them outdoors and still living their lives and have a quality of life. So yeah, that's what I want.
So I have been thinking about like the first day of school, the first week of school, as we always do. We are gearing up with our own safe passage workers. We're gearing up with our Transportation Connect programs because candidly, we have parents who are worried about their kids going back and forth to school. So I want to challenge my team and the chief to think about how we have presence without being intimidating. And MPD and school resource officers are in and around schools, working with the safe passage workers. We have safe passage workers in vests. So, and we have our DDOT staff who is out there who will be helping with crossing as well. So let me think about ways that we want or don't want any of the federal surge officers to be supporting at that time.
What she's saying here is, amazingly enough, is that they have crossing guards. I've talked about it. I've probably shown them on the stream. At almost every corner in the ghetto, they have paid workers, blacks. And they just stand there with vests on. You heard her say it. They don't do anything. They just stand there. Sometimes they might walk a kid across the street. Other times they just stop the traffic and tell the kid to walk across themselves while they're standing on the side of the street smoking a cigarette, talking on their phone. Literally, this is what they do here. They wear green vests, and it's call it what it is.
So we are thinking about it. I don't know that I have the answer right now, but it is on our mind.
And Mayor, if I could just add in response to the question, I do know Chief Smith is trying whenever possible to have our MPD officers present when there are other federal officers who are supplementing where we are in neighborhoods. Our MPD officers know the community, know the families, often know the kids. And that is one way to your question about how do people not be perceived differently, is making sure our MPD officers are also present. The largest part of the surge will happen on overnight. So certainly in the school hours, it shouldn't overlap. And we're trying to be thoughtful with the guard deployment. You'd mentioned that as well. And having that predominantly focused on where we have the federal monuments, where in past special events, people may be accustomed to seeing the guard. So we're trying very hard to be mindful to the extent we can of having our local MPD be present and being able to mitigate some of the legitimate concerns that you raised.
And one of the things that I would say too is because what I hear often as we're planning now is that people want to see more MPD near schools. And so our hope, and I know that what the chief and her team are working on is, as the mayor said, is really how can we deploy the federal law enforcement in a way that helps us to drive down violent crime and really allows us in some respects to deploy MPD in the spaces where our people want to see them more, right? And so one of those is on things like routes to school. So as we're working on our safe passage planning, which we work together with MPD to make sure that we have as much coverage as possible, because that's usually what we hear kind of most from people, that it's in a way that feels safe and supportive for everybody.
Thank you. We'll take another written question. And there are several questions that are about schools, and so I'll just combine them all into one. And the question is, with start of schools about 2 weeks away, is there anything special that the school system or parents should do in light of the current surge?
I think yes. And so I am going to convene a meeting with our public education officials. During the spike in crime that we experienced in 23, I began a regular meeting with school principals, especially of middle and high schools, where we could have a direct and frank discussion about what the schools need from us. And I know that Chancellor Farabee will be meeting with all teachers and all principals in the coming week. And so we will have as much information as we can prepared for them so that they can share that information with parents. Likely, and I don't want to get ahead of the chancellor, but likely the chancellor will produce a communication for parents and families and for in a way to talk to teachers about how to talk to their students when they have questions.
Great, thank you. And as a reminder to everyone in the call, if you press 0, we'll try to get you into the queue. The next live question will come from Rodney Foxworth. You can go ahead. We've got your line unmuted.
Hi, Mayor Bowser. Thanks again for doing this. This is really timely. Just have 2 quick questions. I know 1 or 2 days ago, you talked about if the feds want to help, they can provide additional funding for judges and prosecutors. Were there any comments from the feds regarding that? And should I ask the second question now or wait for you to answer the first one?
Go ahead with your second question.
So the second question, and I'm hearing this from a lot of folks in the Lamont Riggs community where I live. Does DPR park rangers currently provide security services to the areas around our rec centers throughout the day and night? And if not, can your team consider that?
Oh, these niggas, they build rec centers, then they have to hire security for the rec centers. God damn it, just stop building the motherfuckers.
I don't know if I know the answer to their deployment. I know that they are on call. And I'm assuming that they have some patrols around Parks property. I will have to get back to you, Rodney, on the frequency, and specifically on the frequency around Riggs Lamont. On the issue of judges, we had a lengthy conversation with the Attorney General about judges. It's not the first time. We have had many conversations about judges. It is a big deal, especially if they expect to see increased arrest in the city. You have to have the judges to deal with it.
What did she just say? If you expect to see increased arrest in the city, well, if the blacks ain't committing crime, why the hell should we see increased arrest? We should just have increased patrols. But she's saying she's already forecasting here. Yeah. We're going to have increasing arrests because the blacks are going to keep committing crime. Okay.
and we have a backlog of about 15. Only the president appoints judges or nominates judges for the DC Superior Court and the Court of Appeals. His team has a long list of qualified people that have been submitted by our Judicial Nomination Commission. They are aware of the issue. The Senate is aware of the issue because they have to do the confirmations. And we're getting a focus on that. On prosecutors, we actually have to continue to circle back with the Attorney General on that because we believe that they need to detail prosecutors from other U.S. attorneys' offices because their level of vacancy is so big. I think they're trying to fill 60 prosecutors. Earlier in the year, a number of prosecutors were fired, and they have to backfill for those positions, and they have to do it quickly. So the funding issue, however, that is most significant is the congressional limitation on our FY25 spending that was about $1 billion that affected services across all of our clusters that we had to eliminate in order to balance our budget. So there is still time for the Congress to fix that. And as far as advocacy goes from the community, that should continue to be in your talking point. I hate the word talking points, the words talking points, but that should continue to be a part of your narrative. Cutting $1 billion does not make DC safer. In fact, it has prevented us from being able to negotiate with our firefighters who are due for a new contract. Our police officers have to wait to get their raise until the new fiscal year begins because our funds were cut in the current one in FY25. So it's had a lot of impact. So I would continue to talk about that. I would continue to talk about the need for the president to appoint judges. And I would continue to talk about this as an intrusion on our autonomy.
Thank you. And just scanning the Q&A again, Mayor, there's several questions about homeless encampments and the unhoused residents, and if that will present either a burden to the DC system or if we know where some of the residents will be relocated.
Listen, we are very worried about this.
Guys, have you seen any of the shorts I've been posting lately? On the Urban Landlord clips, by the way. I mean, homeless people just going to sleep in the middle of the street. ODs. Man, let me post it. I mean, just today, I was like, damn, like, unbelievable some of the shit I saw. Let me see if I can find it. And while I'll play some more of this Muriel Bowser while I look at this clip.
Issue. I know from many conversations with President Trump that this is like his issue. Seeing homeless encampments, I don't know, it just triggers something in him that has.
It should trigger something in you. It's your city. You're responsible for it. Trump has only been here, 6 months or so. Before he got here, it didn't bother her to see all these homeless people. All about it. And the worst ones are the blacks because they can't even pitch a tent. They can't pitch a tent. They just all over the street. Have mercy. I mean, some of the worst shit I ever seen. And I had Be Brave up here one time. He said, Johnny said, why don't they just get off the main street at least? Just go off on the side street. If you want to just sleep on the sidewalk, if you're too damn lazy to pitch a tent, just go on a side street somewhere. Why don't they do that? I can't make heads or tails of it,
Has him believing that our very beautiful city is dirty, which it is not. And so I worry about this because We spend a lot of time and resources trying to get the people who are in encampments into shelter. And they present with a lot of issues that make them not want to go into shelter. But Kevin, do you have can you share like a rundown of our outreach experience about how many people we think we're talking about?
Sure. Let me provide some context, and then I'll talk about what we're doing literally today and tomorrow. So as context, the city has less homelessness than it did last year. So we've seen improvements in homelessness, which we do through an annual point-in-time count survey. Encampment is one part.
We got less homelessness, less crime. Everything's hunky-dory here.
Part of homelessness that is often the most visible, and that's really defined as when you literally have two people that are in the similar space or same space overnight. We call it an encampment. There's usually a tent structure. Sometimes there's not a tent structure. And our attention and focus on encampments predates this administration. So about 3 years ago, we began a protocol.
I got my own content. Man, just look at just one part of town. Just my day-to-day, just going through DC. Take a look at this. Look at all these homeless blacks. Ooh, they can't even pitch a tent. 2 of them bent over on drugs, fentanyl, laid out on Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue. If the blacks had any pride, they clean this street up. They run these damn drug addicts to a side street somewhere. I wish I could zoom in here. Can I zoom in? Does he get any bigger? Look at that. Look at that. This one bent over. This one right here bent over. And the rest of them probably, if they had some money, they'd be bent over too. All of them homeless. Yikes. Hell, I've had homeless people on this stream. I'm gonna make a motherfucker homeless today. What time? At 30 minutes, I'm gonna call a nigga. I'm gonna tell him, man, look, you ain't got my motherfucking money. You gotta find you somewhere else. I don't give a damn how long you been staying. Put one more on the homeless list. Look at that one. Look at these homeless blacks. And the blacks just standing around. They can't pitch a tent. Look at that shit. Look at that shit. The mayor said, no problem. Nothing to see here. What that white man coming in here trying to do? Why he trying to clean up our city? What? Nigga. This Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue too. Nigga. What the fuck going on? How this black kid? She painted Black Lives Matter downtown. And look at the blacks. Look how she let the blacks live. Look at 45 dead blacks in 18 months. 19 and under. This black here with a straight face said, we don't have a crime problem. Homelessness is down. Look at this nigga. Black Lives Matter, y'all. It really matter. During election time. Yeah, damn. Yeah, damn. We don't have a homeless problem here. That motherfucker laid out in the middle of the street. Sidewalk. Yo, bro, it was hot out here today too, bro. That sidewalk had to be on fire.
Damn, this bitch dead?
Hey, what you see in the background, the blacks, they came up with this scheme. Well, they didn't come up with it. Companies came up with it. Bike companies and probably companies. In New York is Citibank. I don't know who it is in DC. But they said, we're going to give these blacks bikes to ride around.